Good morning, dear children. I hope you all are fine and safe and studying at home. Dear children, in this time, in this critical situation, condition, we have only one option to study at home. And my dear children, please do not waste your time. Do not be distracted and take keen interest in your studies. Utilize your time. And I hope you will surely do that. In today's class, we are going to continue lesson number 9, that is Subject-Verb Agreement. Dear children, once we will revise all the important points which we have studied in our previous class. What is subject-verb agreement? Using verb according to the subject is called subject-verb agreement. If the subject is singular, the verb also should be singular in number. If the subject is plural, verb should be plural. And dear children, many important points we studied. The number and person of the subject determine the form of the verb. According to the number and person of the subject, we use the form of the verb. And then number, person and gender of noun also play an important role in selection of personal pronouns. According to number, person and gender of noun, we use the personal pronouns. And dear children, we studied that main verbs in the simple present tense take an s or es ending when the subject is in the third person singular. In the previous class, I explained you what is number, what is person. And when the subject is third person singular, third person means it denotes the person spoken of or spoken about. And number means the singular or plural in number. When the subject is third person singular, we use s or es with the main verb in simple present tense. And when the subject is third person plural, we do not use s or es with the main verb, but we use the base form of the verb. And we studied the different forms of auxiliary verbs. Be verbs we studied, have verbs we studied, and do verbs we studied. And how to use them in present tense and in past tense. What are their forms in present tense, past tense. And I hope you all have revised that, and I told you the importance of these. It is very important to learn all these forms of the verbs. So, now today we are going to continue the same chapter, and the topic is placement of subject and verb in a sentence. What is the place of the subject and what is the place of the verb? Where to place them in the sentence? The subject comes before the verb in a declarative sentences. In declarative sentence, the subject usually comes before the verb. Since there is an agreement between the subject and the verb, they need to be placed close to each other. We know that there should always be the agreement between the subject and the verb. So, they both should be placed close to each other. For example, I love painting pictures. Here, I is the subject and love is the verb, are placed very close to each other. And here we can see subject is placed immediately before the verb. It is declarative sentence and it is placed, subject is placed just before the verb in this sentence. However, in some sentences, the subject may not be placed next to the verb. In some of the sentences, we can see subject and verbs are not placed next to each other. This happens when an entire phrase acts as the subject of a sentence. When an entire phrase acts as a subject. Here we can see subject is made up of one word. Sometimes subject is made up of many words as a phrase it is given. In case of phrases, the main verb of the phrase is the subject. Let us see this example. The story of my journey needs to be told. Now, dear children, let us find out the subject in this sentence. Here, we can see this noun phrase, the story of my journey. It is a noun phrase, and we know in case of phrases, the main word of the phrase is the subject. Here, the whole phrase acts as the subject. My story, the story of my journey, it is a phrase and it acts as a subject. Now, we use the form of the word according to the main word in this phrase. What is the main word in this phrase? The main word is story. So, the form of the word should be used according to this word. Here we can see it is singular in number, third person singular in number, and we know when the subject is singular in number, we use S or ES form of the verb. That is why we can see here the verb is having S with it. So, the verb must agree with this word and not with anything else in the phrase. The form of the verb should be used according to this main word in a phrase. We don't pay attention on any other words of the phrase. Dear children, let us see another example. My students who admire you very much want to meet you. Here, the subject is a phrase with relative clause. My students who admire you very much is a phrase with relative clause. And what is the main word in this phrase is students. And we know it is third person plural. It is third person plural subject. So, dear children, we use base form of the verb. Want is a verb in this sentence, and we have used base form of the verb. So, we in this topic we can see the placement of subject and verb. We can see that the verb and subject are usually placed next to each other. But in some of the cases when the subject is a whole phrase, in that case we pay attention on the main word of the phrase, and according to that main word we use the form of the verb. Likewise, we make subject and verb agreement. Now, we are going to see the next topic, that is preparatory subject. What is preparatory subject? Sometimes a sentence begins with a word there. Sometimes we can see the sentences which are beginning with the word there. In such a sentence, the noun placed after the verb is the actual subject. The sentences which are beginning with there, in those sentences, subject is the word which is placed after the verb in a sentence. The word which is placed after the verb in a sentence is the actual subject, and the word there is the preparatory or introductory subject. The sentences which are beginning with there, in those sentences, the word which is placed after the verb is the actual subject, and the word there is the preparatory subject or the introductory subject. Let us see this through this example. There was a lion in a jungle. This sentence is beginning with there. Was is a verb. What is the verb in this sentence? Was is the verb. Which word is used soon after the verb? Which word is placed? A lion is placed. So, a lion is the main subject, is the actual subject in this sentence. And the word there is the preparatory or introductory subject. Let us see another example. There are 10 books on the shelf. Again, this sentence is beginning with the word there. What is the verb in this sentence? Are is the verb. And which word is placed soon after the verb? That is 10 books. Talking about books, 10 books. So, 10 books is the actual subject in this sentence, and there is the preparatory or introductory subject in this sentence. One more thing you can notice in this sentence, my dear children, that is the subject and verb agreement. Here you can see a lion is third person singular. That is why the singular subject is used. Books, 10 books. It is third person plural in number. That is why the plural verb is used. Dear children, let us see another topic, that is nouns joined with conjunctions. When two nouns are joined with conjunctions, conjunctions means the joining words. If two nouns are joined with, as well as, with, or along with, the verb agrees with the noun mentioned first. When two nouns are joined with the conjunction, the verb agrees, means the verb is used according to the noun which is mentioned first. According to the first noun, we use the form of the verb. Let us see through this example. The students along with the teacher is the subject. The students along with the teacher. In this example, we can see the first noun is students and the second noun is teacher. These two nouns are joined with the conjunction along with. In this subject, two nouns are joined with the conjunction along with. This is the conjunction, along with. And in this case, we use the form of the verb according to the first noun, according to the noun mentioned first. Which is the noun mentioned first here? Students. That is third person plural in number. So my dear children, our verb should be agree with this noun in person and number. So as this noun is plural in number, we use the plural verb. That is why here are is used. So always remember, when two nouns are joined together with conjunction, in that case the verb should be agree with the first noun mentioned. The verb should be agree with the first noun. Dear children, let us see another example on the board. Mrs. Avasthi with her students is also coming for the inter-school competitions. What is the subject in this sentence? Mrs. Avasthi with her students. In this subject we can see two nouns are joined together with a conjunction. The first noun is Mrs. Avasthi and the second noun is her students are joined together with a conjunction with. And dear children, we know that in this case the verb should agree with the first noun. Here we can see the first noun is Mrs. Avasthi, third person singular in number. So if the verb is noun is singular in number, the subject is singular in number, we should use the singular verb. That is why here the verb is used. So there is proper subject and verb agreement in this sentence. Dear children, let us discuss about the next point, that is nouns joined with either or, neither nor. When the subject, when the nouns are joined with either or neither nor, the verb agrees with the second noun or pronoun when they are joined with either or neither nor. So far we studied when two nouns are joined with the conjunction like as well as, with or along with, we use the verb according to the first noun. Now when the nouns are joined with either or neither nor, we use the verb according to the second noun or pronoun. Let us see this through this example. Neither my friend nor I like noodles. Neither my friend nor I is the subject. Here two nouns are joined with neither nor. These are my friend and I. Two, one is noun, another one is pronoun, are joined together with neither nor. So in this case we use the verb, form of the verb according to the second noun or pronoun. Here I is the first person singular. I is first person singular in number. So we use the verb like in its base form. We are not using S or ES form here because the verb is singular in number. Now dear children, let us see this example. Either the student or the teacher either the student or the teachers are giving the right information. The subject, either the student or the teachers. Here two nouns are joined with either or. These are the student and the teachers. Now, we should use the verb according to the second noun. The second noun is third person plural in number. So, the plural verb we use. Likewise, we make the subject and verb agreement in the sentence. Our verb should always be agree with its subject in number and person. I hope, dear children, the chapter is clear to you. Just revise it at home, understand all the terms with examples, and write the definitions in your copy. These are the definition of agreement and the important points which are given on page number 69 and 70 in green box. Learn them properly, understand them properly, and the table on page number 70 and 71 about the different forms of the auxiliary verbs. Dear children, please do not ignore all these important points, are very important. Learn them by heart and try to solve the exercises by yourself. Thank you, dear children.